In this video, we're jumping back into the Geoguessr in 2069 map, a map that predicts what Geoguessr might look like in the future. They try to simulate Google Street View with different Street View coverage around the world, trying to make it look as close to official coverage as possible. Can I break my record and get a score of 15,000? Let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Geoguessr YouTube channel, where I am very excited to jump back into this map. I had a ton of fun playing this last time. I saw Zigzag has uploaded a couple videos on this map. It's one of his favorites too. Now, it's a map that I'm not very good at. Of course, my high score is just under 12,000. It's a map that's meant to be played no moving, panning, or zooming, and I will say before we get into this that I've had some issues. I played a couple practice games, and I think at least 2 rounds of my 2 practice games didn't load. The panorama didn't load. So hopefully we don't have any issues when I actually play these games. And we're also going to play this with a challenge link for you guys. And before we get into it, a quick reminder to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Guys, we're almost at 200 subs. We're super close to 200. So hit that button now. Like, these videos aren't going anywhere. I've been very busy, so I haven't been uploading as much as I'd like. But I hope you guys will stick around with me, because these videos aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So I got the link pasted. Let's get going. Let's pray that we don't get any rounds that don't load as we start off with something very beautiful. I am going to be using the author, by the way. I'm no shame at all in that. I'm doing it. This one is Benjamin. Very interesting. So it's hard to tell exactly. Is there a way where we can see like where the shadow is going? The shadow of this car, the sun looks like it's coming from this side of the screen. So I'm guessing the sun's in the north, based on where the shadow is for this car, right? Because you would see, if the sun was on the other side, you'd see the shadow coming this way, but it's pointing that way. And on these bushes as well, the shadow is pointing south. So I can only assume I can use the, or I can trust the compass in these. Now the question is, where is this? This is very interesting. So probably somewhere in the southern hemisphere. I'm really not sure, because this kind of like, almost not cobblestone, but stone brick road here is not something I'm very familiar with. I mean, my first reaction was maybe somewhere in South America, Bolivia, Brazil, something like that. But I mean, the landscape doesn't really fit for that. First round, and I'm already really confused. Maybe you guys know, and I'd say you're going to beat me on this round. I mean, as I look around, it's really hard to tell. Like, this could be here somewhere. But Benjamin, I mean, this could be Brazil. I don't know. This could be... It could be an island nation, that's the thing. I mean, I could also see it being Africa. But this road doesn't feel right for many parts of Africa. Like, so I'm gonna go somewhere in, like... Boy, I'm gonna regret this, aren't I? I don't know anywhere in Brazil that looks like this. I don't know anywhere in Brazil that looks like this, but it's about as good as it's gonna get. I don't think it's Australia. It looks like we're driving on the right. I think we're just going to send it and see what happens. This could be Southeast Asia. This could be Africa. Could be South America. And it was Africa. It was actually Angola. Southern Angola. That is so interesting. Like, I'm never guessing that. Again, like I said, it didn't look like anywhere I've ever seen in Brazil. And it doesn't look like anywhere I've ever seen on Google Street View coverage. And that's because it was in Angola. Very cool round. And yeah, I said I'm trying to break my record of 12,000, trying to hit 15K. But honestly, I'm here just for these beautiful rounds, hoping that I can get at least decent guesses. Now, this one looks like it'd be a bit easier. These poles. Okay, my first instinct was something like, are these Portuguese poles? Like, would this make sense for Portugal? What's the author's name? Beatriz Sanchez Simoes. Simoes. There's an accent above the O. Beatriz Sanchez. I don't think these are Spanish. This could be Portuguese. We're right in the hills. I mean, it could be something like Andorra, I suppose, too. These white building. I mean, I'm inclined to go... See, my brain was actually telling me it's up here somewhere, almost near the Pyrenees. But I don't think it is. I'm going to guess Portugal. Even though I see this license plate over here, I don't even see a blue strip on it, but it's so far away. This speed sign, it's probably very unique. And actually, these houses remind me almost more of Croatia or something. So, man, this is actually a difficult round too. But I think I'm going to go with Portugal. And we're just going to see. It was Portugal. I had a decent region guess too. I didn't just plop in the middle. I plopped a little more in the northern half, just because, you know, you can see there's a little bit of more, it's a bit more mountainous around here. You can see, especially zoomed out. So yeah, pretty happy with that guess actually. 4,900. Very pleased as we move on to a round that is going to prove to be very difficult. But again, is this northern or southern hemisphere? This, I think is northern hemisphere. It's hard to tell, like these shadows. I think these shadows here are coming from these rocks, which would indicate the sun is over that side of the image. It's weird because I'm pointing in the opposite direction is what I'm seeing. But yeah, up here basically, I think is where the sun is coming from. And there's a reason this whole cliffside is shaded, right? So the sun is in the south. Now, as for which country this could be, I actually, I thought of the United States. The guy's name is Luca Rubino. Could be Rubino, I don't know. I think it's Rubino, which means it could also be Mexico. But, I got a weird, Southwest U.S. vibe almost from this. Almost a California vibe. But it could also be, a little bit further north. I feel like California's not a terrible guess. The name Luca Rubino could be from anywhere, though. Luca. I mean, that could be from anywhere. I mean, I know Luca with a K is a very common, well, maybe not very common, but it's a Balkan name. Luca with a C, I don't know. Guys, I think this is just a U.S. guess. I mean, am I crazy? I don't know why, but I'm getting such an American vibe from this round. This could very well be something like Spain, but these trees, man, something about this is screaming U.S. to me. I'm going to guess up here somewhere near San Francisco, San Jose, somewhere in California. Oh my gosh, I could be so wrong. It could be Mexico, but I could be so wrong. I just get a vibe, and we're going to go for it. I was very much incorrect. So this was... Oh, Corsica. That was France. Let's take another look at that. This is Corsica. Man, some players who are much better than I would have got that round. Honestly, though, I could see this being the United States even after looking at this. Rubino, it's not really a French name either, so very, very interesting. Luca is, I guess, an Italian name, though, isn't it, as well? L-U-C-A. I mean, I know Corsica's French, but it actually would have made a lot more sense if I went near Italy. All the same, our score is, we can maybe break our record if we get 2 really good rounds, although it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Argen Essenbexa or something like that. Cyrillic name. The license plate. I'm having a hard time seeing. I can't tell. There might be a bit of a red strip on that, and if there is, this could be Kyrgyzstan. But I got a Russian vibe right off the bat. No, Kyrgyzstan. Is there? I feel like I'm seeing a red pixel. I think I'm crazy. I might be crazy, but I think I see a red pixel on the left side of this license plate. And if that's the case, it's Kyrgyzstan, but a big mountain to this. That's such a risky guess. But then again, my other bet is just to guess somewhere in Russia. This doesn't actually feel like Kyrgyzstan to me. And I feel like I would see some of the car meta if this was Kyrgyzstan. No, let me take a closer look. I don't want to tell you guys how long I cut out there to just look at this license plate and determine whether or not there's actually red on it. And I still can't decide. I think there is, but this doesn't feel like Kyrgyzstan. So I'm going to go Russia. But the question is, where? I mean, where in Russia has big mountains like this? There are definitely some places. Do I get an Eastern vibe? Not really. I actually kind of get a Western Russian vibe. Somewhere over here, but I don't know where you'd see, huge mountains like this. Could it be, southern? But I think this is more flat part of Russia, right? I don't think there are actually, huge mountains over here or anything. I think we're just going to guess somewhere in Western Russia and just pray. I mean, if this is Kyrgyzstan, I'm going to be a bit upset, but we just go. We go Russia and we see what happens. There was red on it, guys. I saw a mountain to the south. I should have guessed Bishkek. I forgot the mountain in Bishkek was to the south and not to the north. That's so my fault. I could have gotten that round. That's the thing. That's the frustrating thing. I stared. I saw red. I saw a mountain to the south, and I just didn't trust myself. That's okay. We're on to this round, and this round is very interesting. So the sun seems to be in the north in the... Ooh, is it? It's actually hard to tell. The whole road's kind of illuminated. The sun is kind of straight overhead, is it not? It might look like it's a bit more to the north. Although I will say, with this concrete road and these palms, my gut told me Philippines. At least somewhere probably in Southeast Asia. The beauty of nature. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident going somewhere in Southeast Asia here. And I think since this score's not very good, we'll just send Philippines and we'll see what happens. Because that was my gut. Is this part of Philippines? Or is this, based on the names, Tawi... What is this? Tawi Island. I mean, I think this is probably Indonesia, but let's check. Tawi is a Philippine island. Cool, so I got the country right. That's some good news. But, unfortunately, even though it was the correct country, I only got a score of 8,500. You know what? I'm kind of upset. Because if I just guessed Bishkek, like, everything pointed towards, I don't know why I didn't feel like it was Kyrgyzstan. There was red on the license plate. There was a mountain to my south. If I just clicked Bishkek, that would have broken my score, and it would have got very close to 15,000. So, I really believe in us. Let's move on to the next seed. Link is copied, and we are good to go. So, let's get into the second seed of the video, and probably the last seed. Oh my gosh, okay, so... to start off here, there's really intense music playing in my headphones right now. I should have more relaxing stuff on. Sangirdas la Penas. Yeah, I mean, this kind of building here made me think Switzerland kind of right off the bat. But it's just this dude standing here. I mean, it feels like this part of Europe somewhere. It feels like Alpine, right? I mean, I feel like probably Switzerland. But I don't know. The name is definitely not Swiss. The name sounds more... I don't know. What is it? Sangirdas la Penas? I mean, there's an accent on the E, so it could be French. La Pena. It could be Swiss, actually. Yeah, who knows? But, I mean, I got a Swiss vibe from this. There's a goat. I don't know if Switzerland has a lot of goats. I mean, it could also be Austria, I suppose. But I actually kind of don't mind Switzerland as a guess here. I don't really know anything better. I mean, it could also be Italy. But I see this as somewhere here in Europe, in this region, and I don't think I'm going to change my mind, so I think we'll just go pretty quick, and I'm pretty confident this will be a good score. Famous last words, right? It was Switzerland indeed. No, it was Liechtenstein. It was Liechtenstein, just near Vaduz. I've been to Vaduz. That's actually really interesting. Yeah, well, I've been to Vaduz. I stopped there for a couple hours on a day trip driving from Switzerland through Austria up into Munich. But it was cool. I got my passport stamped in Vaduz with the Royal Liechtenstein stamp, so... awesome start. I don't think it can possibly get better than that as we move on to this round. Bienvenidos. Paseo de la Amistad. Municipalidad de las Lomitas. It's Lomitas, I think. Yeah, I think there's like a Google camera issue here, so it's Lomitas. Oh, but this is not official Google coverage. So, we are somewhere... Paseo de la Amistad. Municipalidad de las Lomitas. Municipalidad de las Lomitas. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to find that on the map. Probably not. Looking at the hints here. So, the sun looks to be directly behind us, which means it's directly to the east, which really doesn't tell me anything. White painted bottom of the pole makes me think of Brazil. But this pole itself doesn't feel very Brazilian to me. Because it's just cylindrical, right? I think this is just cylindrical. I don't think that's a hexagon at all. So this is somewhere in Latin America. I mean, I'm sure of that. The problem is Latin America spans such a vast region that, like, if I, like, you know, I had around, I don't think that was in this video. No, it was in one of the failed attempts. I clicked in South Africa and it was in Zimbabwe and I only got 2,000 points. So, like, I mean, that's just the way it is with Latin America, too. Like, if I guess in Brazil and it's Mexico, I'm only going to get, like, 1,000. But at least, I wish I had my map runner power-ups here now. Alright, let me think about this. So let's talk it through. So we got kind of brown dirt. It's really not that red, but there is a bit of red. It does kind of feel Brazilian. I'm not going to lie. Like, this doesn't feel Colombian to me. It doesn't feel Ecuadorian at all. It doesn't feel Peruvian. Like, I don't see this. I mean, it could be Mexico, and it could be Brazil. The way that the shadows are... there's not many of them, but this is clearly a shadow, and it looks like it's coming from behind us. I can't tell the angle. And, like, this building... oh, it's so hard to tell. There's really not much to go off. I think the sun's probably more likely to be in the north, but I could just be, you know, saying crazy stuff. Although there's a shadow here. Where's this shadow from? The shadow is coming from over here, it looks like. It looks like it's going, like, this way, right? So if the shadow is going that way, then the sun would probably be coming from the south, which means we'd probably be in Mexico. Man, this is so tough. Okay. I think I need to think. I still can't tell if that's an octagonal pole. I don't think so. I think that's actually just a cylindrical pole. Isn't this great, the close-up camera footage? You know, a possibility that I just thought of that I didn't even mention. Because again, like, I feel like I'm just locking myself to Google, like, Google coverage countries. Like, I didn't even mention Venezuela. I only mentioned, like, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. What if it's something like Paraguay? Because the white painted bottom of the poll, like I said, makes me think very Brazil. I keep saying Brazil. Brazil. I mean, look, I'm learning Spanish, so I say Brazil. But like, it's very similar to Brazil in that sense. So, like, could it be somewhere here in Paraguay? I mean, Paraguay is not that big of a place. I mean, we can, like, scan the towns. What in the world? That must be, like, a native name or something. Ipeju. Mayor Pablo... Mayor Pablo Lagarenza. That's interesting. I feel like it could be Paraguay. You know what? I think I'm going to go Paraguay. I think I'm going to go Asuncion. Or just on the outskirts of Asuncion. Because, I don't know. I feel like this is not a bad guess. And it feels like Brazil. And it got this whole thing style of Brazil. So, we're just going to send it here in Villa Hayes. I just, however you pronounce it, Villa Hayes, maybe. But let's go. Let's just do it. Stop wasting time. It was Oh, don't tell me that Las Lomitas showed up on the map when I was scrolling over Paraguay. I didn't even think of Argentina, to be honest. But I guess I probably should have if I'm guessing in Paraguay. Oh, man, someone's going to have to go look back at the footage and tell me whether or not I saw that. Oh, no. Some of you probably might have been yelling at me, but hey, you know what? All the same, that's 4,000 points guessing in Paraguay. My deduction skills were pretty good on that. I'm not upset at all. And let's move on to the next round. We are more than on pace. I think we already beat last round's score. We have a score of 8,700 as we're into this round here, which could be almost anywhere. But again, we're going to need to use these shadows to help us. So let's look at these little things here. Definitely, the shadow is on the south side of both of these little, I guess they're bollards. I don't really know what they are, which means the sun is in the north, which means that to me this is either South Africa or Australia. And I got a bit more of an Australian vibe than a South African vibe at first, but I really don't know. Like, this house to me, this kind of property feels more Australian. I know South Africa definitely has properties like this, but I'm getting a very Australian vibe, and I don't know why. Now, as for where in Australia, no freaking idea. Very dry. Could be Western Australia. Somewhere near Perth, the outskirts of Perth. I mean, I don't think that's completely crazy. But I mean, it could also be just somewhere in like Queensland, right? Somewhere here like Charleville. I don't know what Charleville, Roma, St. George look like. I could also just hedge in SA. Go somewhere near like... Yeah, it probably doesn't really look like this along this road in SA. Because like you don't really get many towns like up here. Like, I mean, it could be somewhere like here. And that kind of hedges sort of all of Australia. It's not Northern Territory. This is definitely not somewhere like Darwin. So I am going to go Australia. I'm going to guess somewhere here like Woomera. I don't know what it looks like there. It's actually kind of near water, so I'm kind of afraid it'll be pretty green. Although it really doesn't look like it. So we're definitely not on the highway, but we might be somewhere near this. And this kind of hedges for a bit of all of Australia. This could be South Africa. And that would be kind of devastating to my score, but... It was my gut feeling, and there's no point in wasting time, guys. I'm not going to change my mind to South Africa after inspecting it all more, so we're going to send Australia, and we're going to be happy about it. It's Kenya. Whoa. What? That was Kenya. That was, like, on the equator, and I thought the sun was definitively in the north. That was Kenya. Wow, that was just near Nakuru. Never would have guessed that in my life. Let's have another look at this Kenya round. No Street View imagery available. Wow. You know what? That's so cool, though. Like, I'm not upset with that. Maybe I should have got a more African vibe. It probably doesn't feel at all Australian to people who actually know what Australia looks like. But I don't, unfortunately. I'm really bad at Australia. But that's a cool round, honestly, landing Kenya and something like this. As we move on to the final round of the video. And this one might take some thinking. What is that flag? It's not a country flag that I'm familiar with. Well, I'm familiar with every country flag, and I can tell you that's not a country flag. Although I will say, it could be. Thought it wasn't, but what if that's the Vietnamese flag? What if that's the Vietnamese flag? It doesn't really look like it, but I suppose it could be. Oh, but look at the author. Bien Quang Thi. That's a very Vietnamese name if I've ever seen one. Would this make sense? You know, I got with this kind of architecture style, I got a bit of a Cambodian vibe, but I thought, nah, this like doesn't look like anywhere in Cambodia. So for this to be potentially Vietnam, yeah, I think that makes sense because I got a bit of a more Cambodian vibe. Although, could this be more north? It's very hilly up here. would kind of remind me more of China. You know, Vietnam is such a long country. If I guess north and it's south, I'm gonna really regret it. But no, I'm gonna go south. I'm gonna go South Vietnam because I got a weird like Cambodian Thai-ish vibe. It could be north and I'll lose a lot of points, but I'm sending Vietnam. We're just gonna go for it. And it was north, right where I clicked. Right near where I had clicked. But hey, that's still 2,000 points. That's okay. Man, if I had just clicked there, I've already... Oh, I'm on pace to break my score, and we should, because again, it's a Latin American country. Bienvenidos a la Capilla Virgen del Carmen. Okay. Now, where in Latin America looks like this? I mean, immediately I'm just thinking Central America, right? Like, this is super jungly. This could be like, I don't even think this is Amazon or anything. I think this is somewhere in here, in like the jungles of Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, something like that. But could this be Colombia? Could be. Could this be Costa Rica? Yeah. Guatemala? Maybe. Probably not Guatemala. I don't think it's Guatemala. I don't really get that kind of a feeling off of it. It's very humid, very jungly here. Which, again, makes me think somewhere more like Colombia or Ecuador. Like, if I just guess up here by Medellin or something. Is that crazy? I mean, it's not really the jungly. I mean, there's some, yeah, but I guess, like, the jungly part of Colombia is more down here, like Puerto Nariño. I don't know. I think my best bet is actually just a hedge. Because the more I think about it, the more it could be somewhere like... I mean, if it's Mexico, it's got to be like down here near Guatemala, though. I'm going to guess... I don't know if they have rainforests like this in Costa Rica, Panama. I mean, I don't know if it's a rainforest, but it sure looks like it. I mean, it could be Colombia. I think I just hedge somewhere in Costa Rica. And just kind of hedge for Central America. If it's Guatemala, it's good. If it's Colombia, it's good. Could it ever... I don't know enough about Dominican Republic. I know what Santo Domingo and Santiago de los Caballeros look like on Google coverage, but I don't know what their rural sections would look like. So I'm going to hedge in Costa Rica. Yeah, and we're just going to see what happens. Break the score. That was Venezuela. Okay, I didn't really think of Venezuela. That was right near Maracay. So 1348. Did we break our record? We did. 12,300 points. Still not very good. I mean, again, that one was a lot better than the previous one, though. Really, that one was just the Australia guess that I was a bit upset with. But all the same, I'm quite happy with how I did in this video. I think I had a few opportunities, golden chances to get close to 15,000. For example, like guessing Russia on what I sort of knew was Kyrgyzstan, but convinced myself out of. Guessing USA on Corsica was interesting, but I honestly am not that upset at that guess for myself. Maybe the name Luca should have helped me guess somewhere near Italy, but at the same time, I had opportunities. I broke my record. I got 12,000. Definitely not pro level, but hey, I'm pretty happy with myself. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the Geoguessr channel. Help us hit 200 subs. It would be really appreciated. I'm Geoguessr. We'll catch you in the next one.